A couple years ago, I was talking with one of the artists on my record label. We were finishing his record. It was being mastered, and we were a little bit behind on choosing an album cover for the album. It was just a digital release. I think we were also going to do CDs. We were going back and forth. We were starting to argue a little bit on album cover ideas. I was really passionate about one idea, and he didn't really seem to care too much. And then he said something that blew my mind. He said, "I don't really think that album covers matter. Isn't it all about the music?" I took this moment as a teaching moment for him, and I slapped him across the face as hard as I could. And to this day, you can still see my handprint on the side of his face. And when he looks in the mirror, he's reminded that, yes, album covers do matter. Hello and welcome to a new episode of Other Record Labels. Today we're talking about just the basics of album artwork, the basic of making an album cover. And I've covered this all over the place. I mean, you can go to my website, otherrecordlabels.com/artwork. I'll put the link in the description below because over the years I've been accumulating episodes and ideas and templates and articles based on album covers and how to make a great album cover. And so I've taught this a lot. We've talked about it on our show all the time. And if you go to otherrecordlabels.com/artwork, I'll put all the details there. I personally, this is a topic I'm super passionate about. I really do think that album covers matter. And we're going to talk about 3 reasons why I believe they matter. We're really just going over the basics. If you want to go into the details of how to make a great album cover, how to hire a graphic designer, all that's on my website. But today we're just talking about 3 reasons why a record label should care about album covers. That shouldn't be an afterthought. Now, is it more important than the music? I don't know. I just think it's all part of the music. That's like saying, is the drums more important than the music? Well, it's part of the music. And it leads me to my first point. It matters more than you think it does. I've talked about this on the podcast and on the YouTube channel so many times. And the fact is that album covers are often a first impression for people. In fact, most people see music before they hear music, meaning if you're in a record store flipping through records, you're seeing album covers first. You're not hearing any of the music. I discover a lot of music on Twitter or Instagram. I'm scrolling through some of the journalists and curators and record labels I follow, and I see something, whether it's a press photo or it's a photo in the studio, or usually it's an album cover or a picture of a vinyl. And I'm like, that looks kind of cool. What does it sound like? I click through, I listen to a sample, and now I'm a fan. Album covers have also become iconic over the years. Of course, there's stuff like Pink Floyd stuff, which was really popular, the hypnosis stuff like Wish You Were Here and Dark Side of the Moon. But even through the 90s, like OK Computer and Kid A and Lauryn Hill, and up until the 2000s, the Kendrick Lamar record is, the first 2 Kendrick Lamar records are really cool album covers and iconic. Kanye West's stuff has become iconic. There's album covers that are being released today that will become iconic. And so music, of course, is iconic, but there are elements like the Yankee Hotel Foxtrot Towers from Wilco. There are elements that are not musical that will become recognizable from afar. And as we move into kind of a newly revised physical world of music, meaning people are streaming, yes, but they're also have a renewed appetite for physical products like tapes and CDs are coming back, and vinyl has been coming back for the past 15 years. Because of that, artwork is important because it plays a more critical role. If everything moved to 100% digital and the album covers were just this like 100 pixel by 100 pixel square that we see on our phones or on Spotify, then maybe I wouldn't be doing this video. Maybe I wouldn't be advocating for artwork so much. But the fact of the matter is that the artwork is actually being blown up to 12 inches by 12 inches on vinyl. It has a spine, a front cover, a back cover, inserts. It has lyric sheets. It has labels on the record. It has beautiful thick spines on cassette. So artwork is actually playing a bigger role in the physical world than it has in the past 20 years. Speaking of physical media, I want to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Hellbender Vinyl. They are a pressing plant in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, in the United States of America, and they're making incredible records. And when we talk about artwork, we're talking about taking that gorgeous album cover, pulling out a color vinyl that sort of matches the cover in a cool artistic way, maybe a sleeve that has printed lyrics on it, maybe there's a cool artwork poster folded up inside. It's such an exciting package. It's such an exciting way to carry the artwork through the whole experience for the listener. they're looking at this and feeling it and smelling it and touching it while listening to the record on the turntable. So pressing vinyl is such a great immersive experience for music fans. And so if you or an artist on your record label is looking to make a vinyl record, make sure you chat up our friends at Hellbender Vinyl by going to hellbendervinyl.com. Number 2, why does album artwork matter? It's part of a bigger campaign. Now, I did a whole lecture on this. It's in our artwork course. It's also in our marketing course. So I'm really just going to skim the surface of what I'm talking about here. But when somebody has a really cool album cover, you see that kind of variation carried out throughout different parts of the campaign. So singles will have a similar look. Taylor Swift does this all the time as a great example. Also, band merch or concert tickets or concert posters, even social media posts, you start to see a similar thread, whether it's the same font, it's the same color scheme, it's the same press photo or same photo set from the same photo shoot. There's a consistency that we see, not just in the album cover itself, but also on the tapes, the CDs, the banner on their YouTube channel or their banner on their Spotify homepage. There is an overall consistency. And so when the band, when the artist is promoting this single or this album, you see a visual consistency that spreads across their Twitter, their social media accounts, their Spotify accounts, their YouTube channel, their homepage, etc. And finally, number 3 is that it's part of a record label's role is to help an artist with the artwork. Why? Because maybe they haven't watched this video. Maybe they're not familiar with the importance of album artwork. They haven't thought about this idea of carrying a visual art, aesthetic through an entire release campaign. They haven't thought about the fact that music fans see album covers before they get to hear the music. And so for you as a record label, need to be familiar, like we did an episode just recently talking about recording and mixing and mastering. And that's something that record labels need to get to know, because it is like, especially the mastering, it's part of bringing a great product, a great album to the fans. And so artwork is the same way. Artwork is in that middle section between the album coming out of the studio and before it gets into the hands or into the iPods of the music fans. Artwork is in the middle. And so a record label kind of manages that bridge between the musician and the music fan. And artwork is a big part of that. So that's why it's a big part of what you do as an independent record label. So whether that is providing designer contacts for people, graphic designers that you recommend, maybe your record label has a graphic designer that you use for every release. I've seen that before. It's pretty cool. Perhaps there's a record label that uses the same template, whether that's an Obi strip template, or they put their logo in the bottom left corner or the top right corner, or they just do something that's very distinct and familiar across all of their releases, like Sun Records did, or like Blue Note has done over the years, or maybe it's just on the label of the record or the CD, like Columbia Records has done. Either way, you should really be knowing what you're doing. It should be part of your strategy. It should be part of your plan. So if you're meeting with an artist, you're saying, these are our expectations for artwork. This is our budget for artwork. Artwork plays an important role in the entire release. It's not an afterthought. If artwork has been an afterthought for you, then I hope that you have found this episode helpful. Go to otherrecordlabels.com/artwork, where I'll put the notes from today that you can read it over, as well as a bunch of my resources, including there's a template for doing a cool mock-up for vinyl releases. There is some more videos on how to make great artwork, blah, blah, blah. Thank you again to Hellbender Vinyl for sponsoring today's episode. Make sure you go check them out when you're ready to press your next record, hellbendervinyl.com. Thanks for watching.